It is January the 23rd, 1 p.m. here on the west coast of these United States of America. My name is Arthur Asadurian. This is the weekly Apologia Center Q&A that we do on Mondays at 1 p.m. and we also do on Fridays at 1 p.m. I want to thank you guys for being in here. Appreciate you. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what's going on, where you're joining from, as we wait for more folks to join us, and then we will jump into our conversations, hopefully. Really fun and enlightening sorts of conversations. So let me know where you're joining from. Dropped a little short today. If you guys haven't seen, that's between me and Jeremy from our interview the other day. I thought that might be sort of kind of good. What's up, Daryl? How you doing? Virginia in the house? It is ridiculously windy here in Southern California. It really is. Like stuff might get picked up and thrown somewhere random. So very, very interesting. What up? We got Germany in the house, Washington State in the house. We got Los Angeles in the house. What's up, Arnold? How you doing? Alpha, what's up? San Diego in the house. I was supposed to be in San Diego this past weekend for a tournament, Oceanside to be exact, for my son, but we had booked for him to go to a retreat, and so he couldn't be at his tournament this weekend, which was not really good because we want him to be at all the tournaments, possible tournaments. He plays soccer. Good afternoon, Jilly Hawk. How was your weekend? How was my weekend? Let's see what I did. So if you follow me on Instagram, who follows me on Instagram here? 62 degrees in San Diego. So it is a sunny day here. Not saying it's not sunny. It's windy here in the valley. So it's 63 right now. Very sunny, but very, very windy. So you guys, let me know if you follow me on Instagram. I put something up on Saturday. That's the reason why I'm asking, is because some of you guys might be confused. So I put something up on Saturday morning. I forget what time, but it was an early morning. So I woke up Saturday. Long day. So I woke up at 4:30 a.m. to watch Liverpool versus Chelsea. Not the most exciting game. Actually, a pretty dull game. No fun. Ended 0-0. And then I got up and went to my younger brother's house, who had prepared and invited a number of us over for some khash. Now, that is a meal that is... How would I explain it? It's like a bone broth. Okay, it's a bone broth meal that Armenians eat called khash. And it's meant to be eaten a certain way. So, yeah, certain ingredients in it and all that. So usually you eat it when it's pretty cold. And it was. Saturday it was pretty cold, chilly. And so... yeah, and it's the kind of meal that's very heavy. Like after you eat it, you have to sleep. Like it makes you really, really sleepy. So I was at my brother's house till 5 o'clock. So ate and then knocked out on the couch for a couple of hours, and then got up and just spent some time with them and stuff like that. But that was my Saturday. Came home with the family and all that. So, yeah, that was Saturday. Sunday was church. Watched a football game yesterday. I'm not a football fan, but watched a football game. That is what the American football, the one where they throw the ball with their hand and they call it a football, because the ball is a foot. I call it egg toss, but yeah. And then, so yeah, I spent some time with my friends yesterday. Church family, pretty cool. So that was the weekend. We had 2 children in our house because our son was out away on retreat, and it was a bit different having just 2 kids around. So that was my weekend. Germany, San Diego. Yeah, if you guys are on Instagram, you're more than welcome to follow on Instagram as well. I do like these spontaneous Q&A things on Instagram. If you're in town, visit my Armenian friend's restaurant named Meze. In San Diego. Cool. Would love to. Northern Germany is 34 degrees Fahrenheit. Chilly. Chiefs versus Niners going to the Super Bowl. Sure. My friends, a good number of my friends were Niners supporters. And so I watched the football with them. And I had fun. It's not that I didn't have fun. But yes, he was there. And I had a blast. I had a blast just making random comments. Like, oh, touchdown. I've realized football is the sort of sport you can watch and not pay attention. Oh, I need a little thing with that drum roll. I need something that goes. So yeah, but like you can sit and like talk. Please, not the Niners. Any team but them. So yeah, but I had friends who were supporting the 49ers yesterday. Some were supporting the Cowboys. But yeah. It's not the most exciting sport, by the way, I might say. It's interesting to me that people who watch sports like baseball and watch sports like football actually comment and say things like soccer is not exciting. It is like people who watch baseball have no right to speak about excitement in a sport, by the way. Just like, please don't. Just keep it to yourself. People who watch football, it's just there's so many stops in the game. There are so many commercials. There's so many just random stuff where it kills momentum. Like the sport it's a momentum killer. Something's happening and it can't continue to happen for your excitement. It just stops. And now they got to change this and that. And then just, it's like, it's not fun. Not that there aren't exciting moments, but like I can watch soccer and just be in the game ends 0-0. I'm watching the game entire 90 minutes. And it's exciting the whole time. There aren't breaks. There aren't pauses. Right? Considering halftime break, that's fine. But it's like the dude throws the ball, the other guy catches the ball, like 2 whatever yards, and then there's a stop. Like stop. And there's a timeout, and then there's a line change or whatever. Substitution. Like it's just too much for me. So I know like yesterday we were talking about, I know I'd heard 12 minutes, entire continuous playtime for an American football game is 12 minutes, but I think yesterday we found that it was like 14 or 15 minutes. You watch like 3 hours and for 14, 15 minutes worth. Okay. But what I'm saying is that's fine. I mean, if people want to watch it and let them enjoy it, that's no issue with me. I don't think they have a right to say that soccer is boring. Rooting for the Cowboys. Okay. American football recently gained quite some popularity in Germany. I think it's gained quite some popularity in England as well, which I don't understand. Like they have rugby, man. Correct. Yeah, that's. I mean, is there anyone else that plays this sport other than the NFL? I'm not sure. Amen to that. I can't take you seriously. And I can't take you seriously either. Come on, man. Don't say stuff like that. Just don't. Please don't. Personal preferences, that's fine. But to say the sport as a sport is just, come on. You can't even compare it. Baseball is boring. I think soccer is boring. If you understand the mechanics of football, you'd like it more. I do understand the mechanics. I'm not completely ignorant of the thing. It's a very complex game. Had to make the right decisions. Correct. Yeah. It's again, like I said, it's the people who claim that soccer is boring, and the amount of stops. Like, again, it's always questionable to me when people make comments like this, whether they actually watch the sport or have watched the sport or what they've watched. In any sport, you can always find a game that's a really, really dull, boring game. Any sport, doesn't matter. And then you can find a very, very exciting game that will exist in any sport in any context. I think it's probably the way we should go about it is whether most of the games will keep your attention and you can watch it and it'll be exciting. That's probably where the conversation should be. What up, PT? Recently, I was chosen for ministry work in which centers around... Sorry, okay, I got to reread this. Recently, I was chosen for ministry work, which centers around encouraging the youth at my church. I've never done this before, so any advice regarding ministry work is helpful. Hey, congrats, first and foremost. Awesome. Very good stuff. Why don't you shoot me an email and you and I can jump on a Zoom call or something like that. So I did youth work at my church for many years, for a very long time. So there's quite a bit of stuff that I could communicate with you. But there's questions. Like, in order for me to answer this question, I got to know a couple of things. Just put it that way. So shoot me an email, and then we'll arrange some kind of a meeting or something like that. And then, or we can just go back and forth on email. But I would love to be of help. Okay, so congrats. Golf is the most boring sport. So I've played golf. Golf is one of those things where it's a lot more fun, I think, to play with friends. And like complete amateurs playing golf. But I had a blast playing golf. Baseball is one of those sports too. Like watching baseball is like watching paint dry. But it's fun to play. I love the energy at soccer games. It's just, yeah, like the stadium is continuously at it. It's just phenomenal. I don't know if you guys can hear the wind howling. Stuff's going to break. I'm very sure stuff's going to break. Okay. A couple of books we're working through. I got to add to these, but I should share them with you. This book is, we're doing this, I might have shared this last time with you guys, but Where Prayer Becomes Real, reading this and discussing it with our leadership team. That's a spiritual formation book written by Kyle Strobel and John Coe. A couple of days ago, now this is an acquaintance, he's a friend, and he's written a book. His name is Josh Buck, J.W. Buck. He's written this book called Everyday Activism, following 7 practices of Jesus to create a just world. And so I've been going through this book because we're gonna have him on the on our Thursday interviews. So he will be a guest, but I'm working through this book to be knowledgeable enough about the book to have that kind of a conversation. And let me read a little bit about Josh here. He is a church planter, filmmaker, teacher, and faith-based entrepreneur with undergraduate degrees in biblical studies and ministry. Josh Buck has his PhD in intercultural studies with a focus on the problem of racial violence. So that's interesting. I'd like to pick his brain on that. He is a co-founder of PAX, a Christian organization designed to inspire and equip the next generation through slow, beautiful, Jesus-centered content created by people of color. He and his wife, Saraswati, live in Tucson, Arizona, with their 3 children. So, this should be a fun conversation with Josh. Plenty of areas of agreement with him, and then I'm sure there are some areas of disagreement which would be interesting. Watch the 2017 Super Bowl. Let me know if you're not on the edge of your chair. I think I did watch the 2017 Super Bowl. I watched it live. I usually watch the Super Bowl, and if I remember this one correctly, then yeah, it's like I said, every sport is going to have a game or games that are very, very exciting. I mean, consider the World Cup final that just happened. I don't care who you are. If you didn't think that was an exciting game, then you don't know what's going on. This is the one where there was a touchdown scored in the last minute or something, wasn't there? Went to overtime. I think I remember watching this. That's the one they blew the lead. Yeah. I remember this. Can I have a back-to-back discussion via email? I don't think I'll have much time to Zoom. That's fine. Just shoot me an email, and then I'll shoot you back some questions, and I'll try to answer those. Are Russia and Iran the main allies, Armenia, in that region? Iran is. I'm not very sure whether Russia is, in all transparency. It appears as if Russia is. I'm not very sure whether I personally consider them an ally. What is your opinion on sports players of winning teams claiming that God was essentially pulling for their given team to win that night? Aaron Rodgers has made issue of this versus Russell Wilson. Yeah, I don't know who those are. Aaron Rodgers sounds like a familiar name. I'll tell you what. So, yeah, I mean, look, I don't think God is, I should rephrase. If God's going to get involved in any kind of a sports team kind of winning sort of thing. My immediate thought would be there must be something larger and bigger at play here. Let me give you an example. Suppose it was through the game that some of the players become Christians or something like that. Then I would say then God would have a higher purpose as to why he would get involved in that sporting event. I don't think God kind of sits there and says, 5 Christians on this team, versus 1 Christian on this other team. We're going to have the Christians win. Like, I don't think that happened. Or they prayed or something like that. And I'm going to, right? Like, I get it. We pray, we ask God. Like, generally, one of the things that is very interesting. I played, this reminds me of something. So when I was in seminary, we had kind of on the side sports activities, and I played soccer, and there were tournaments. So they're competitive. And then before every single game, both teams would get together and then pray. But it was a competitive sport. I mean, like, it was pretty competitive. It was really cool. And here's some of the stuff we prayed for, is that God would actually teach us to love him more through this game, that God would keep us safe from injuries and stuff like that. So not like for our team to win, like God be on our side, right? Like we got that. Like that's not what's going on. I would say if God has a higher purpose, he's going to use that event in some kind of a way. I could potentially see it happening where that's the case. A very interesting thing I've recently, as a Liverpool fan, that I've thought about is one of the Liverpool players, current Liverpool players, is named Roberto Firmino. They call him Bobby Firmino. He's a Brazilian guy, phenomenal player. So this guy, he wasn't really a Christian believer or anything like that when he came to the team. Liverpool ended up selling another Brazilian guy from the team named Philippe Coutinho, and for a lot of money to Barcelona, probably his closest pal on the team, and then ended up buying another Brazilian guy for goalie, Alisson Becker and Virgil van Dijk. So Alisson Becker is a pretty solid believer. And there's another guy on the team, another Brazilian guy named Fabinho. And it ends up being where Alisson Becker, and I think Fabinho to a certain extent, but mostly Alisson Becker, ministers to Bobby Firmino, and then Firmino and his family, his wife and him, have become Christians, and very outspoken, posting Bible verses. Like it's been really cool to see kind of this dude's growth over the last couple of years as he's become a Christian. And it's like, why did all that stuff happen? Like the selling of Felipe Coutinho, like did God have kind of a hand in all these things? I tend to think, because I think God's actually involved in those things, and his ultimate purpose, I think, is still that people come to know him. And so in this, now that's not a game, but that has to do with the sport itself. By the way, because of, predominantly, I would say, because of Alisson Becker and Virgil van Dijk and the way that team that got set up, Liverpool ended up winning the league. They ended up winning the Champions League. Like, those were very solid players that came into the team, and they ended up winning stuff. But it's like, then I look at it and it's like, oh, Bobby Firmino became a Christian through this whole process. How cool is that? And recently, Liverpool had signed a player who's pretty outspoken about his faith as well. His name is Cody Gakpo, and who's not doing so well, 4 or 5 games in. But it's like, who knows? The coach has made many claims. I probably disagree with Jurgen Klopp on a bunch of political issues, but he's regularly made claims about being a Christian. And, so, like, solid stuff. I'm not saying, like, people just making claims about being Christians, like, oh, yeah, I'm a Christian. Like, right? Plenty of people do that. But, like, given, for example, I read an article in which Jurgen Klopp was being interviewed, and he said it's very difficult. Listen to this. Look, this is actually phenomenal. He said it's very difficult being a Christian and being a manager of a soccer team. He said the reason is because you're paid to win, and you always want to win. But he said as a Christian, you want other people to win as well. So that becomes very difficult. And I was like, wow, that's solid. That's cool. Oh, yeah. There we go. Finally found I went to church this week, and it was great. I don't 100% theologically agree with them, but good enough. Hey, that's okay. I don't 100% agree with my church. Like, nobody 100% agrees with each other in my church. Like, the guy who preaches, who's a dear friend, right? You guys saw the interview with David. Like, we disagree on a bunch of stuff. But we do ministry together. So I don't think you have to 100% agree in order for that stuff to happen. But yeah. On my way back to campus, I visited an Antiochian Orthodox church. It was beautiful. Antiochian, I should say. Orthodox church. Interesting. So this is different than the other church you said that you were going to go to, huh? Ooh, Autumn, good you're in here. I need to send you. Here, I'll actually post a video. This is a really interesting video I watched today, and I thought about you. Credit to 911 Glock, by the way, for this video, who sent it into a chat we're a part of. And it's about like artificial intelligence and media predominantly, and essentially, and court cases and stuff like that. Very interesting as to the lawsuits we're going to be seeing. But yeah, because I know your work, and I know you posted some stuff about like saying no to AI generated photos and pictures and stuff like that. So there's some lawsuits going on. Very interesting. And it would be nearly impossible to not cuss during halftime when your team is losing. Interesting. Hope you know. That might be true. Yeah, Klopp definitely. I've seen him go off. Saw a video recently that recommended using 2 or more Bible translations. I want to know how I'm supposed to use 2 translations when reading. Do you have an example of how to do that? So there are parallel Bible versions. I think it has like the King James, NIV, and I don't know what the other couple are. Excuse me. You can just put 2 Bibles next to each other and do it. You can go to Bible Gateway and open up a parallel. Essentially, you can like screen. You can make the screen parallel, and then do that digitally. Again, my question always comes down to why. Why do you always need to use 2 Bible translations? If you're not studying, if you're like devotionally reading, just get a decent translation. If you're really concerned about, word for word and interpretive stuff, just get a word for word translation. So I don't agree unless you're doing a study. They are reforming on Wesleyan. That's where I don't see that being an issue, by the way. Pastor also said he would get coffee with me, so that's very nice, man. That's good. Nobody will 100% agree. That was my point about feed the poor, cure the sick, forgive and be forgiven. Who would disagree with that? Amen to that, but you'd be surprised. Yeah, it's funny. It's like usually when I see this sort of stuff and we go, who would disagree with that? I mean, people won't. But when you start talking about why you're doing what you're doing, that's when people start disagreeing. And the Christian is bound, I think, by Scripture to not only do these things, but also give the reason as to why he or she is doing these things. It's like, why do we forgive? Well, because God's forgiven us. Why do we love? Because God first loved us. And then that's what people start disagreeing with. What do you think about the Yazidi Kurds? I don't know how to answer this. It's like if you ask me, like, what do you think about black people? Like, I love them. Like, what's the point of this question? It's like, number one is because I don't live with Yazidi Turks. It's like, they're Kurds. They're not around me. And the ones when I was in Armenia, there were some that I met who were believers, which was really cool. But that's about it. Standard Bible app, YouVersion, lets you compare verses on your phone. You prefer physical Bibles, then you got to get multiple Bibles and put them next to each other. Yeah, it's a really tough and complicated situation when it comes to AI. It's going to completely revolutionize the industry, the art industry, not necessarily in a good way. Correct. You need to watch this video. There's already lawsuits that have been filed, and it's very interesting as to what's going to come out of here. So I guess the idea here is that the AI software is able to access all the work of all these artists, combine those, like deconstruct it, reconstruct it, combine it, and create something new. The situation becomes like, what if the artists stop inputting stuff into it, right? It's like it's because of the artists that the AI actually has access to all this art in order to do what it does. And since it's accessing the work of those artists need to be compensated. So it will become a bit different in regards to the way art's going to be working. So yeah. Okay, Blue Letter does it. I have my standard CSB study Bible, then every other version next to it on my phone, along with the Wesley Notes and Katina app. Interesting. There you go. What is the strangest doctrine you have personally come across? Like orthodox doctrine or non-orthodox? Like, right? Like, you get what I mean here, right? Like a doctrine that is biblically taught, but it's strange, or a doctrine where it's a doctrine. My concern is, of course, copyright and the replacement of artists in many fields due to this high speed and efficiency. Also, the whole point of art is that it is a form of human expression. Now you're getting into the philosophy and intention and motivation of art. That is interesting stuff. I hear they might be making strides toward 3D printed organs for healthcare. Do you think it would be a sin for a person to receive a 3D printed heart? No, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with that. It's like that would be the equivalent of saying it's a sin to get a 3D printed arm or a 3D printed leg or something, right? Like any prosthetic. So nothing wrong with that. If they're able to do that, yeah, it's all cool. The problem with AI and tech in general is that the tech advances much quicker than laws. That's true. That's very, very true. Bureaucrats can't keep up with the speed that the tech is going. Bureaucrats can't, but lawyers can. Correct, right? Like we've all seen those Senate hearings where it's like, do you guys even know how this stuff works? But I think lawyers can. And that's essentially what it's going to come down to. It's the way the law is going to be interpreted. But we saw this when we saw a very similar thing when it came to like downloading, I don't know, in the early 2000s when we were all downloading illegal music and stuff like that. There are gray areas, obviously, in the law, but still. AI doesn't have a soul. Art should be okay. It comes from the individual. Well, it might put a lot of artists out of work. It's that once it gets advanced enough, and say like I'll give you a very basic example. Thumbnails. Okay. I could spend quite a bit of time spending time creating thumbnails for YouTube, or I can have AI generate me one and probably do a way better job than I do. Now you might say, well, that doesn't hurt anyone. That just makes your work faster. Correct. I mean, people are using AI to script their YouTube videos now. I haven't made any videos like that, but I've given it a go. You can do pretty well with it. My buddy told me that there were some guys that essentially were scripted a video on AI, hired someone on like one of these apps where people do editing and stuff, hired someone to do a voiceover, essentially to narrate the script, and then hired someone else to do an editing of the video. Essentially created a video where he didn't do any work, right? That's a possibility and things of that sort. But what about like business cards? You can auto-generate business cards. You can auto-generate logos, right? Like, so people whose their job it is to create logos for companies, now those folks can just jump onto one of these softwares and auto-generate a logo. And it's going to be pretty decent. The question is whether that's somehow copyright infringement. Like, that's what it comes down to. Because if the logo is very similar to another company's logo, because the AI software is accessed the internet for those sorts of logos, then you're going to have issues. So it's going to become a legal battle of sorts. I hope that there will be proper laws put in place that can protect artists. I'm not against innovation, but the only fair way that AI can contribute in art would the art world is by just being a tool. Correct. Well, a highly advanced tool, right? Hey, what's up? What's up, Aramas? How you doing, man? Is there any chance I can send you a video and you respond to it? It's short, TikTok, thank you. Yeah, just send it my way. Send it, we'll take a look at it. Hey, Ashley, what's up? Ashley, I just watched your KJV only testimony video. Very good. Thank you very much for that, by the way. Not the long version. Or no, sorry. There isn't long version. You recommended another video in that video. I didn't watch that one. I watched the one I commented on. The one that says from IFB onlyism to freedom in Christ. That was a really cool video. Thank you for that. Ashley has 244 subscribers. She had 242 earlier on in the day when I was watching it. If you guys want to subscribe to Ashley's channel, do so. Get it up to 250. We did this last time, and it was we got it up to a certain, I think 211 or something. So 6 subscribers for Ashley gets her to 250. That'd be cool. Hey, look, it's Jeremy Collins, guys. If you haven't, hit the like button and check out the new shirt that just dropped today. What shirt dropped today? Oh. I was like, I didn't launch my merch. What is he talking about? He meant short. Not short as in the shorts you wear, but short as in the YouTube short that we dropped. That took me a long time to do, by the way. But it's a learning process. You're right about art. I wasn't looking at it from that perspective. The internet already crippled the music industry. It's a crime against our dreams in a way. Yeah, so music has been hit, like streaming, for example. But think about like how YouTube has essentially crippled mainstream media. It's like, who watches television? Who has cable? Streaming has crippled the entire industry and then has created a new industry. So anything like this, it's like, look at the amount of money that's going into YouTube and that's coming out. Like the people that are making money on YouTube and making a living from it. I mean, here's the other day when I was watching that whole controversy with Louder with Crowder and Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire folks, and I was like, dude, the money these guys are talking about is insane money. These guys aren't talking about $10,000 and $20 and $150,000 or $300. They're talking about $50 million. That's a lot of money. $50 million over 4 years is nuts. Nobody's buying CDs anymore. Heck, our devices don't have capabilities to play CDs. My longer one was called Leaving Legalism. That's the one I probably need to watch. Hey, look at that, 245, Ashley. 5 more. We got 19 people in here. Shame on you guys. 20 people in here. Why don't you guys go and subscribe to Ashley's channel? We need 5 of you guys to subscribe to Ashley's channel to get it up to 250 subscribers. Come on now. 21 people in here. Hit that like button, by the way, because it helps with folks seeing it. I'm not mad, just passionate. There's Ashley's link. I want Apologia merch. I have Jeremy's merch. We're working on it. We are working. We came across some hiccups. I'll tell you this. Okay, I'll share this with you guys. The logo that I have, where is it? Let me show it to you guys. Why can't you see it? Okay, you guys can hardly see it. Whatever, this logo. Okay, this logo was made by, this is a certain version of it. This logo was made by a very good friend of mine, and he did a phenomenal job. But we don't have the original files of this logo. So we've been able to recreate the logo without having to create a brand new logo from the original, except a certain portion of it where we got to find something similar enough where it doesn't kind of throw it off. So we're working on that. Once that's done, then we'll be able to get it up on the shirts and all the mugs and stuff like that, and be able to launch that. So that's where we are in the process of it. Probably this week sometime we'll have that ready and done. Hey, look at that, guys. The Bible dingers are in the house. Let's see where these are all folks you guys should subscribe to, by the way. Ashley, Bible dingers, Jeremy Collins, John Clash, who's not in here. Where is John? John Clash just passed 10,000 subscribers, guys. Well done, John Clash. John had a video that went viral. I mean, I want to say semi-viral, but it went viral. It was a short he did. When did he release this short? Oh my Lord. This thing really went viral overnight. Wow. Check that out, guys. I didn't know this. Y'all know John Clash, supporter of Apologia Center. So John made this video a little bit of time ago. Yesterday I checked, this video had 287,000 views. Overnight, it's gotten 300,000 views more. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this video could go into the millions.
Was Mr. Rogers trying to warn us? Listen.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about what's being delivered to our children in this country.
Boys are boys from the beginning. Girls are girls right from the start. Everybody's fancy, everybody's fine, your body's fancy, and so is mine. Because sometimes children think that they might change. They might have to change after a while. And, we laugh about that now, but it's because we had that concern when we were little.
Yeah, because you're really not sure. You thought maybe you'd become a girl, or a girl would become a boy, right?
Exactly.
Happens frequently out here.
Only girls can be the mummies. Only boys can grow up and be the daddies. Yes, sir. Or a girl can be someday a lady, and a boy can be someday a man.
Was Mr. Rogers trying to warn us? Listen.
I'm very much concerned, as I know you are, about...
So yeah, he's at he just 10,200. I think we're gonna see John Clash hit way more than that very soon. With the way that's going, that might go into the millions and millions of views. Can't wait to see what happens there. That's really cool. All the stadium-sized concerts I grew up with were magical. Don't see that anymore. Interesting. Ashley said, I swear I'm not paying him for this promo. Ashley, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, I'll tell you exactly why I'm doing it. Because I am a transparent sort of guy. I think it is the most difficult on YouTube. The most difficult is to get up to 1,000 subscribers. It's very, very hard. It is really like painful as you go through the process. It's like every one subscriber is a really big deal. Okay, and everybody says it's the most difficult to get to 1,000. Like once you get to 1,000, you got kind of a base, right? I mean, not everybody who subscribed to you up to 1,000 is going to watch your videos, but let's just say even 10% of that people are watching. Now, think about it. When you have like, let's say 250, right? So when you put up a video, how many people are actually watching it, right? Whatever. I don't know. I should probably go and see your views. Your views are probably a lot higher than that. But the idea here would be, we're going back. Okay. So okay, you put up a video. It's got 105 views. That's great. The fact that you have 245 subscribers and you're getting 100 views, 700 views on that one, that's really cool. You're getting good numbers here. But then when you get to 1,000 and then beyond, these numbers are just like, they're sort of like expected. You put up a video, it's like in your first day, it's like you got 100, 200. And that's always really cool to see. So that's why I think it takes a lot of work to get up to 1,000. I know you're putting in a lot of work. Like the fact that your thumbnails have improved like tremendously. They're extremely eye-catching, and they speak about your personality probably quite a bit, and all the colors and stuff. So it's cool to see that. So that's why she's not paying me, but we're promoting her. You don't want to see Arthur mad. This is true. I hate seeing myself mad. This is very, very true. Excited to watch the Onlyism video. I grew up KJV only. Ooh. Armaz has sent it to my Instagram. I'll put that up soon, Armaz. Just subscribe to Bible Bit Dingers. Look at that. Caught that on the YouTube algorithms yesterday and saw that video. Awesome. This made me love Mr. Rogers even more. I was reading up on Mr. Rogers. He might be a Christian. He might have been a Christian. He was an ordained minister. Did you know that? Well, I'm hoping you saw that in your... I think he was an ordained Presbyterian minister. Pretty sure he was a Christian. First 1,000... Pristine auto detailing in the house, by the way. First 1,000 took forever, no doubt. I'm debating to start back up or not. It's a lot of work to keep consistent. I used to do it for the money, and that wasn't enough to keep me motivated. Yeah. So for someone like you, it's different. But you got to think about it as, I guess, it's an alternative that can do really well. And then if there's a way you can set it up where you're... eyelash, right? It's bothering me. If there's a way you can set it up, I think, where the editing process is easier and all that stuff, then it might actually be worth it, because you're providing a lot of really good value, by the way. If you guys haven't seen Pristine Auto Detailing's channel, I know he hasn't updated stuff, but he will help you learn how to clean your car and what to do. It's really cool stuff. And YouTube, by the way, and I've learned this from Sean Cannell. YouTube is, you have to view YouTube as a search engine. Most folks do. That's why they title their videos like 5 ways to do X or 10 ways to do that, or, things of that sort. If you can properly align all your content, and yours is like 3 ways to get easier, shine on your rims or something like that. Shorter content might probably be a lot better for you. It's like quick kind of tips, but it is a lot of work. It really is. My brother paints cars, and I don't have the time, the resources, or the energy to do all that for him, but it takes a lot of prep work and stuff like that. I need a camera and a mic. You already have a camera and a mic. It's called your phone. You probably just need a mic, and you can get one for like $25. That's a pretty decent mic, and you can just start recording. Your phone is a really, really good mic, a really, really good camera. Whatever phone you have. None of my subs watch my videos. It's all Google search. There you go. It's a search engine. See, it's the fact that somebody goes, YouTube, right, is owned by Google. It's the fact that somebody will jump onto Google and be like, man, how do I do this? And then, those videos pop. Like every time I have a computer question, I'll be like, I don't know. Like let's say it's an editing question or something like that. It's like doing this in iMovie, X, Y, and Z. I'll just Google it, and then I won't even read the websites. If there are videos, I'll just click the videos and go to YouTube and watch the videos. Much easier. Okay, let's go to Instagram and pull this up. Not now. Notifications. That's so good. Someone commented on the short I put out, and this is hilarious. Oh man. This person wrote, "Cool words. Wish I could read them without getting a seizure." Oh, that is so good. Thank you. It's very interesting when you do things and you go, oh, that's a pretty decent idea, and then realize a bunch of people have. Okay. This video of hers blew up. This is on TikTok. I hate TikTok so much. It's I think TikTok is a bad platform, by the way. And then hang on, I gotta zoom in and properly align all this stuff. Okay, I think I'm ready for this. Let's see. Let's see what this lady has to say.
Ili, Ili, lama shabaktani. My God, why have you forsaken me? Well, did you know that those are only his last words according to Matthew and Mark? It's in the book of Luke that he says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And his last lines are actually, Father, into thy hands I commend my spirit. And then in John, the most interesting account in my opinion, first he says, Woman, behold thy son, and behold thy mother. I thirst. It is finished. Now, if all the disciples were there, why do they have different accounts of what his last words were? Elian, why are you so obsessed with Jesus? Are you Christian? No. But I've been obsessed with Jesus since I was a kid. The fact that we measure time according to when someone was here on earth used to boggle me as a kid. And obviously I needed to find out everything I could about who he was because, why is this person so important? But anyway, back to the last words. Now, Christian scholars have pretty much reconciled these into the 7 sayings of Christ on the cross. But the fact is that you can't find all 7 in one book. The one I didn't mention being Luke 23:43. Truthfully, I say unto thee, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. So different last words, as well as different accounts on who was saved that day. Was it the robber? Was it Barabbas? Was it no one? Now, in the Jewish faith, Jesus is generally considered by scholars to be a false prophet, because it's considered that the time of his coming isn't aligned with the prophecies of the true Messiah. And in the Quran, he was never unalived. What? Elian, you heretic. No, I'm serious. Now, regardless of your fate, let's just think about this for a second.
What the heck is unalived?
The unalivement of Jesus is only spoken of in the past tense. And it comes at the end of the chapter An-Nisa, the women, which honestly makes a lot of sense considering
Why is this
that
woman's
the
hair
biblical
uncovered?
accounts of the last days of Jesus have a lot of women around
Honestly,
him.
she's a
And
Muslim.
it's the women who follow him afterwards to the tomb, and the women who are sent to speak to the disciples. Honestly, women are so underplayed in the Bible. But anyway, Quran chapter 4, verse 157. The Jewish people said, we killed al-Masih, Isa, son of Maryam, the messenger of Allah, but they killed him not, nor crucified him. But it appeared like that to them. And those who differ therein are full of doubts. They have no certain knowledge. They follow nothing but conjecture. For surely they killed him not. The idea is that it wasn't Jesus himself, but the likeness of him that was put on the cross. And there is so much debate as to what that even means. In the Apocrypha and the Gnostic Gospels, Jesus is considered to only have ever been a likeness, as in he was never truly fully human, but mostly spirit, and therefore was incapable of suffering like a human. Now, all of this discussion was shut down by the church because this idea undermines the most fundamental tenet of Christianity, which was that Jesus suffered for our sins. But what do you think? Has the Messiah come and gone, or is he still on his way? Remember Jesus' last...
Why do you guys have to do this to me? Automazd, I blame thee. Wait, Wartford unalived. This can't be real. You will get banned for using KILL on TikTok? Like if you say they killed Jesus. Okay. So I'm going to give you my thoughts raw. But what I'll end up probably doing is actually creating a more nuanced kind of response to these claims. Because she's sort of all over the place. I'm like, there's the Muslim aspect of it. There is like, in regards to why the last words are recorded the way they are. Like that's one category. What is she a Muslim? Someone tell me, do you know? If she's a Muslim, I'm just really seriously questioning why. And the way she changes her accent is just hilarious to me, by the way. Twitchy witch. Nice hair, by the way. Yeah, I know the word about self-deletion. I know that one. I learned that one from Ruslan. Self-deletion. Okay. So, sorry, you don't have to be sorry. Okay. Something's in my eye. It's very annoying. Give me a second. Before I open up my... what's up, folks? By the way, we got 20 people in here. Hit that like button. Say hello. Drop a comment. Don't just hide in the background. Okay. So before I open up my my book here, I pulled out. Which is the Gospels. It's a harmony of the Gospel. So it harmonizes the books, has the timeline and stuff like that. So that's a resource we'll use in answering this question. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know. I mean, if she's a witch and reads dreams, she can't be a Muslim. Correct, yeah. So it could just be she's like really into New Age kind of, stuff. Hello, hi. So in regards to what's going on, the Gospels are not meant to record everything that Jesus said or did. They actually do not. The Gospel of John, I believe, records probably like the Gospel of John probably records about 3 months of Jesus' life altogether. Luke is the most complete, you can say. It's chronological, beginning to end. And then Matthew and John. So every single one of the Gospels have their own purposes. So it's not very difficult answering the question why they incorporate different last words. That's predominantly because they have different reasons for including these things he said on the cross before he died. Right? So I suspect this is the way unless you're writing a very detailed account of something and saying, I'm going to tell you exactly every single thing that was said, you don't need to. This is not how history was done. This is not how ancient biographies are written. If you want to consider the Gospels an ancient biography, I don't tend to consider them an ancient biography. I consider the Gospels kind of their own genre. So, but it includes ancient historical kind of biographies stylistically in them. So it's not that difficult to say, like, what these aren't the last statements of Jesus. Okay. Or they're not like, sorry, what did I say? Yeah, these aren't like exactly the last statements. I don't think any of the Gospels is saying this is the very, very last thing Jesus said. They're just including within it, within their Gospels, sayings on the cross that will fit their purposes. That's what's going on there. In regards to the other stuff she's saying, it's like, oh, in Jewish, tradition, he's considered a false prophet. I'm sorry, maybe to the TikTok audience that seems to be extremely uninformed about stuff, that might seem to be new news. It's not to people who know stuff and read books. So I am trying to be as nice as possible. And then she goes on to, she does that cool accent change and reads the Quran, and says the Quran says that Jesus never died. Yet we know that because the Quran claims that Jesus, God essentially caused people to think that it was Jesus, but it was not actually him. I don't know why she went to the Gnostic stuff, because she could have gone into the Gnostic stuff before. And then she says the church stopped this conversation. No, it didn't. The church dealt with Gnosticism, responded to Gnosticism, got rid of Gnosticism. And people who study this stuff read Gnostic texts. Like, so those of us who were educated in this subject had to read these things. It's a part of our education. It's sort of the same way if you go to school and you are educated as a mechanical engineer, you're going to study stuff that I didn't, and you're going to study stuff that the film person didn't study, and they're going to study things you didn't study. So it's like, nobody shut it down. These things are accessible. Like, you can find them on Amazon. You can find them for free on the internet. They're very, very accessible. No one's hiding them. They're not in some hidden cave in the Vatican. Let me tell you, like, this is nonsense. Like, people have known about these things. Maybe you just discovered it and, you think it's new news, but it's really not. So, yeah. And then the Gnostic stuff is like, yeah, we know Gnostics believe that because Gnostics thought anything physical was evil or imperfect. So they couldn't believe Jesus came in physical form because they didn't think that the divine being who's, all good and righteous and perfect would be able to do that. By the way, this is the reason why, or partly the reason why, 1 John is written. This is why we have the heresies like the Colossian heresy. There's things in the Bible that are essentially Christians responding to, or disciples or apostles responding to, pre-Gnostic ideas like Docetism. Okay. So let me try to open up actually see the order of these things, if we can figure this out. Crucifixion. If you guys have questions, throw it in there. Again, this is not, anyone can be a Muslim. See Andrew Tate, for example. That's cold. Okay, so yeah, I got the passage open here. It is a TikTok video. It is a TikTok video, I should say that. Even modern biographers don't include everything. They would be hiring. They would be hiring if they did. I don't know. So the disciples are hiding. Correct. There is this. But even if the Jews are the ones who had him put to death, not news at all. I know, huh? It's like, by the way, did you know? Did you know Jesus died? What's up? Okay. So yeah, I'll create a, so here are so you got Matthew 27, 45 to 50, Mark 15, 33 to 37, and then Luke 23, 44 to 45a, and then 46, and then John is silent on the matter until a certain point. So, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, my God, why have you forsaken me? Matthew says it. Mark says it. Darkness falls over. Then Luke, amidst that, goes into Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Yeah, so Matthew and Mark are good on that, and Jesus uttered a loud cry and breathed his last. Now, nowhere in here does it say this is his last statement or something like that, even if it did. Again, contextually, depending on what you're writing, I think you have literary freedom to say, and at last he said this, because that's the last thing you want to include of his sayings. Not necessarily it was the last thing that he said. Depending on what you're writing, I think that could be argued for. So Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, I'm trying to find him say this is the last thing he said. Okay. Then we go to John. All things are ready, scriptures being fulfilled. So jar full of sour wine was standing there. Okay, so when Jesus therefore had received the sour wine, he said, it is finished, and he bowed his head and gave up his spirit. That's John. Yeah. Luke, she mentioned Luke, yeah. So Jesus, crying out with a loud voice, said, Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit, which is a quotation from Psalm 31:5. And having said this, he breathed his last. So why couldn't Jesus have said something like, Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit, it is finished, and then died? Now, it's very interesting that verse 50 and 37 of Matthew and Mark actually says, and Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit. And then Mark actually says, and Jesus uttered a loud cry and breathed his last. Why couldn't it be that the way they're summarizing what Jesus said was by saying he just said something in a loud voice? And the thing he said could be, Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit. And it is finished, said it loudly, and then died. That would reconcile that. Just face value, I'm looking at this and saying that's the very big possibility where Matthew and Mark kind of generalize it by saying Jesus said something in a loud cry and then died, where Luke and John say two parts of the same statement. They say two different parts of one sentence and say he died and leave the other one out. Like that, it's not an issue. So I think when you put the text next to each other, then you will see that it's not like she hasn't discovered something that people haven't like thought about. So again, kind of maybe not as organized as I would like it to be, but that would be a response to it. I hope that helps, Aramas. If it doesn't, then I'll keep that video. I'll work on something next couple of days and then release a response to that. Auto incorrect is the enemy. So like, what is going on? Yeah, Gnostic belief was surrounded by a dichotomy of the Old Testament God being the demiurge and the New Testament being the good. So the reason for this, by the way, is Platonism and Neoplatonism predominantly. Gnosticism is a religious framework, I think, that develops out of Neoplatonism. And so, yeah, the demiurge idea that, is absolutely there. The Marcionites did the same thing and wanted to get rid of the Old Testament, correct? Ask any law enforcement detective. Most of the time, people in the same event that witness the same thing and notice and remember different aspects of the same event. Correct. And it could be that whenever, say they're writing something down, then they have a purpose for writing what it is down, and they're not obligated to write down every single thing, because that's not the reason for the writing of those things down. The Gospels are not just detailed accounts of Jesus' saying and doings. They have a purpose to them. If this is what pushed you away from Christ and Christianity, you wanted an out. It could be. Or, okay, I'm not going to conjecture there. Yes, it did help. Okay. And actually, it's considered corroboration if stories match too well. Correct. I mean, J. Warner Wallace, who's a phenomenal apologist, has said this countless times, that because he's a detective, he has said that if they go into, say they have two witnesses and they separate them and the two witnesses give the same exact accounting, immediately it's suspect. Immediately there's corroboration that these people have talked and set up this story to share it this way. They actually look for there to be differences in eyewitness testimony. It could be because of the audible volume and how far each person was away. If one part of the sentence was heard over the other, it could be for many reasons. Yeah, I mean, again, that's like too much conjecture for me. Is that a possibility? Sure. But I suppose this is the sort of things that they would have talked about afterwards. Like, hey, he said something. What did he say? It's like, oh, I heard him say this, right? Like, if that's the case. But it just becomes way too much conjecture. But there could be many ways to reconcile this. And it doesn't have to be some weird conspiratorial thing. It doesn't have to be like, oh, the church that hates witches has kept us in the silence because they didn't allow us to read Gnostic texts. It's like, no, seminarians have read Gnostic texts for ages. It's not really super complicated. The stuff that gets popularized on the internet is just hilarious to me. I'm back on the video, by the way. I'm trying to read some of the comments here. I'm a Christian and love hearing these ideas. I love seeing the Bible as complex text that can be interpreted many ways. You have interesting ideas. No, she doesn't. And this individual doesn't know what she's talking about. The Bible cannot be interpreted many ways. OMG, finally someone aware and awake reads the Quran. I'm so happy. She's a witch. And again, well, her name is Witch. Twitchy Witch. Maybe she's not a witch. I don't know. I don't want to falsely accuse her. My immediate thing was, if she's like a really devoted and committed Muslim, why her hair is uncovered? The Messiah isn't a person, it's a collective awakening. I should pull this up. Let's read TikTok comments. Could you talk about Islam mentioning him being lifted to heaven and is supposed to come back? I love how you explain religions. Your voice, especially in Arabic, is stunning. Arabic? Hang on.
According to Matthew and Mark, only have ever been a likeness. As in, he was never true. The idea is that it wasn't true. So much debate as to what that even means. Jesus is considered to only have ever been a likeness. Mostly killed him not, nor crucified him, but it appears.
I don't like smug people, by the way.
In the past tense.
There's a smugness about her.
It comes at the end of the chapter, An-Nisa, the women, which honestly makes this verse.
She's quoting from the passage. I just got it. She's quoting from the passage called "The Women," because Islam respects women so much.
Second. In the Quran, the unalivement of Jesus is only spoken of in the past tense, and it comes at the end of the chapter An-Nisa, the women, which honestly makes a lot of sense considering that the biblical accounts of the last days of Jesus have a lot of women around him. And it's the women who follow him afterwards to the tomb, and the women who are sent to speak to the disciples. Honestly, women are so underplayed in the Bible. But anyway, Quran chapter 4, verse 157. The Jewish people said, we killed al-Masih.
When did she talk Arabic is my question. Like, she just said the title of the book. That's what I was like, she changes her accent like when she's reading the Quran. Like, that's just hilarious to me. It's like, I'm reading the Quran in English and my accent's going to change into a guy who has a heavy accent in English. Like, it just makes no sense.
Isa, son of Maryam, the messenger of Allah, but they killed him not, nor crucified him. But it appeared...
Sorry. Okay, comments. Reading comments. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, so Jenny here says, the Gospels don't say this was Jesus' last words. Eyewitness testimonies mean they wrote what stood out to them and what they remembered most clearly. Interesting. Okay, now 29 replies to Jenny. Jenny made a good point. So why they consider if the word of God, if it's from what they remember? Oh, have mercy, God. John was at the feet of the cross with his mother so she could recognize her son. Stop saying heresy. Okay. Your blindness is the blindness of hearts, not insight. Okay. Moving on. Okay, Eleanor's got a point. All differ, same reason when the police interview witnesses, they differ too. That's got 80. I'm not going to jump into that. Even in real life, if several friends go to the same party, they will all come out telling a different story. Interesting fan theories. When does the next book come out? This guy's in love with her because she's talking about Islam. Al-Islam. I appreciate the perspective. Interesting point. My father and sister both witnessed my mother taking her last breath, and they each said her last words were something different. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, moving on with our lives. But yeah, I'll probably make a better. It's okay. Here's what's funny to me. Okay, I don't know. Some of you guys are bilingual. Some of you guys are trilingual. My friend Aramaz, who sent me this video, speaks Armenian, Farsi, and English. Aramaz, do you speak any other languages? And he speaks them all very well and very fluently. He's at least trilingual. And but it's funny, like when I'm looking at something here. So I got some Armenian text somewhere here. Okay, so now this is an actual Armenian book, but suppose I picked up the translation of this book into English or something, and I started reading it in English, and I started reading it with a heavy Armenian accent. That's just like, why? That doesn't give it authenticity. It's people do this. It's hilarious to me. True story. When I lived in Florida, what I thought was a man in a blue hoodie was breaking into my house. That's what I told the police I saw. I was so scared in the moment, I apparently didn't notice it. Was actually a woman in a red hoodie. Interesting. So I was a bad eyewitness to the crime I saw. Very, very interesting. Paul says each author has his own point of view, and we rob him of his perspective and his integrity as an author when we pretend otherwise and try to harmonize the Gospels. So I think there's a certain aspect of this, Paul, that's true, and then I'm not very sure whether I agree with the second part, when we pretend otherwise and try to harmonize it. We're trying to harmonize it. Now, this harmony of the Gospels is more of a chronological harmony. So it's with the perspective of trying to put the events before and after properly. It's an effort of a harmony. But I 100% agree with the first part of your statement in that they have their perspective, point of view. They have their own audience. And so they're trying to make certain points to the audience that they're writing to. Can we harmonize it? Yeah, I think there's some things we can harmonize. I think we can harmonize probably most of it. Can we harmonize it completely and perfectly and all that? Probably not. But yeah. The Messiah is a collective awakening. My brain cells are beginning to die. That's why I left the comment section. Jerome, what's up, man? Oh, look, he's streaming again. So Armaz also understands some of somewhat Arabic, and Russian. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed. We'd really appreciate it. The poll asks me if I've hit the like before. I see the like button, so I say no. Jerome, the like button is on the bottom of the video. It's a little thumb. Okay. Sorry, I was watching another video of hers. Man, it's so smug. I don't like stuff like that. What's up, Mike? How you doing? When is the next conversation with a guest, and who will it be? Very good question, Mikey. I don't know. I'm still working on my list. So, yeah. One of them for sure is going to be... there's a couple of books everywhere. I'm probably going to end up dying with books collapsing on my head or something. I had a professor in Bible college whose office was very, very dangerous, actually. I actually thought it was pretty dangerous because he had books, literally on all sides. He would sit, in there, and then there was books on top of the shelves. So if there was an earthquake, books would have fallen on him from all sides. Hey, what's up with that? That's not what I'm looking for. Oh, that might be it. Let's see. I'm trying to... So there's a couple of books. So we want to interview the author of this book, Matthew Owen. I'm in conversation with him. We're going to be interviewing of this book, Josh Buck, in conversation with him, plus a couple of other folks that it's not necessarily that they've written books recently that I can read. But again, trying to go through the content before we get these folks on. Fun fact, we are forced to learn Arabic, the language of the Quran, in Iran by force. It's mainly verses from the Quran. Sorry, I should stop doing that. I was just a bad student in that subject, and I just wanted to pass. I even hit it twice. Don't hit it twice. Hit it 3 times. Always odd. I'm going to shave my head soon. Do you have any tips on how to clean my head? For example, do you use shampoo and conditioner? That's hilarious. Welcome to Apologia Center's beauty and what is it? Beauty blog? All things beards and bald heads. We will tell you how to condition your bald head and shampoo your beard. I think a bald head and beard would match you. It does. A beard matches him. I haven't seen him bald, but I think it would match him. I told him this. Just take a razor and just shave your head. And just, yeah. You don't need to use shaving cream or something like that for shaving your head. You can, but for me, I just use, soap. The Bald Beauty Blog. Nikki, you need to tell your husband to grow a full beard. Goatees are nice, but they might be a little outdated. Just tell him to grow the full-on beard, man. My next guest, Carl, and we're going to be talking about male beauty, men's beauty tips. That's what's happening on Thursday. Which conditioner to use so that you can have good theology. Merch idea. I'm not mad. I'm just saying bald is beautiful with my face on it. I like this. I'm gonna write this down. This is gonna turn into a shirt with my face on it. By the way, that face with the angry one. That one. Thank you, Ashley. It is windy. It'd be weird wearing a shirt of yourself, like your face. That'd be kind of weird. We would have to like do an AI generated thing of my face and then put that on the shirts. At least mess with it a little bit. Hang on, I gotta fix something here. All these books now. $5:30 Eastern is 2:30 here. Hang on, folks. I'll let you guys know what's going on in a second. Hey, what up, Armando? How you doing, man? God bless you. Thanks for being here. You can generate your face with AI. There was a video I saw recently. I'll send it to you. I'll find it later on. Have you heard of ChatGPT? Yeah, we were talking about AI stuff. By the way, I'm really interested in when we have Matthew Owen on to talk about AI. I turn pictures into graphics. It's easy. Nikki, I'm going to send you a picture. Can you email me, Nikki, so I can just respond to it with that picture and change that into a graphic? The profile icon is actually her. I want to see what you can do with my face. Okay, guys. So here's what we were doing. There's a friend who had, who's supposed to have, I guess, someone on. And here, I'll send you this link. And some stuff happened where that didn't take place. I told him I'll jump on and we can do a live Q&A on his channel. And we're going to be doing that at 3 p.m. So that's in about 20 minutes. So here's what we're going to do. You guys go to that link. We're going to set all this stuff up. I'm going to jump on his channel and we're going to do a session on his channel. So that's what's going on. So we'll end this stream. I'll get all that set up and I'll be on his channel in about 20 minutes. Okay. So 3 p.m. here on the West Coast, I will be on his channel. So, yep. Thanks for being here. It was a pleasure. And hopefully I will see you guys in about 20 minutes. Take care. God bless you. Be well.